A lot of people are talking again about climate change because of these tragic wildfires that have happened down in California, close to Los Angeles. Now, there are two main responses that I've noticed. The first is from people who criticize uh, Democrats. They are MAGA supporters of Trump, and they criticize Gavin Newsom. They criticize the mayor of Los Angeles, Bass. They criticize Joe Biden, and they say the fault is because of lack of enough forest fighters, firefighters, the lack of enough cleaning of the old brush, the dried up brush in the forest areas and so forth. And the others are more rational, more logical, and they just look at this particular event as a tragic but inevitable result of climate change. And it's the second group that I think we need to pay attention to, not because there aren't issues with sufficient firefighters. Obviously, those firefighters should be funded more, and not because there aren't concerns with cleaning up the forest floor and so forth, but more because the patterns of climate change are very, very obvious by this point. And we need to be honest and realize that in the future, these kinds of disasters might become more plentiful. And now is the time to practice the precautionary principle and start thinking about ways to reduce carbon emissions. That issue has been on hold for quite a while. It needs to make a comeback, and we need to start discussing about ways to bring those carbon emissions down, because in the future it won't necessarily simply be a case of wildfires, other forms of theoretically preventable disasters. But there is one nightmare scenario in which we would have too much methane in the atmosphere. There's a scientist named Sam Carana who's pointed this out, that as the albedo, the ice in the North Pole and Antarctica, diminishes, methane that's stored under the sea surface might escape into the atmosphere, and we might have an absolutely catastrophic warming event. We have to act now and talk now about ways to bring carbon emissions effectively down to basically prevent these nightmare scenarios from happening.